Welcome to this week's episode of the Punk Popcast, where we're going to be talking about Fall Out Boy's Folie. Did I say that right? Welcome to this week's episode of the Punk Popcast. I am one of your hosts. My name is Brad, and as per usual and always, I'm joined on my left by our guy Jason. Welcome, Jason.
Hey, how are you?
I am doing well, thank you very much. How are you this evening?
I'm fantastic.
Good to hear. What's the weather like in PA these days?
It is 36 and cloudy, and we just got 3 inches of rain this week. So
at least it's rain. It could have been a whole lot worse. Could have been 3 inches of snow.
Well, 3 inches of rain equals out to 3 feet of snow, supposedly. So I'll take the 3 inches of rain.
Oh, geez. I didn't realize that. At this moment, it is 84 degrees at 8:30 at night in the Phoenix area.
And it's 36 here, and I have my window open beside me. So,
well, I'm not wearing a sweatshirt, and I'm not wearing socks. So the AC is not dropping it down that cold here tonight. Thank goodness. But anyway, tomorrow, I think I've worn socks for the last time until like October, though, aside from coaching baseball at night. But yeah, it's flip-flops from here on out. My flip-flop tan line is strong already, and I'm very proud of that. So anyway, let's get into this. Today we're going to talk about Fall Out Boy's Folie, Deux, and honestly, I don't know how to say that. I don't know if that's the right. I've looked it up several times, but I can never remember. In fact, I looked it up the other day just so I didn't sound like an idiot today, and I still don't know if I'm saying it right.
I've always said Folie, Deux, so I think it could be you say tomatoes, I say tomato morts. I don't know.
Tomato morts.
That is a deep Homestar Runner reference. I'm sorry.
Okay. Yes. This is period appropriate for this podcast. Homestar Runner. Let's do this for just a minute. So today, it's funny you say that. So today, I was getting a drink. My drink of choice is Diet Mountain Dew. I was getting one out of the fridge, and I said I'm going to grab a cold one. And my wife just looked at me and I said, the property of ones, a one that is not cold is not a one at all. Do you know that one?
I know that
because
one.
they drank ones. Their drink was called ones, and they always had to be cold because it was a cold one. And Strong Bad gave the property of ones. He said, if it's not cold, it's not a one at all. Therefore, one that is not cold.
I love Strong Bad.
Strong Bad's the best part of the entire website. Every show, he's the best with Strong Bad emails.
So you say tomatoes, I say tomato morts is from Coach Z.
Yes. And we still to this a new good job he did there.
So for years I have called pancakes because of Homestar Runner. And Jamie for the longest time thought this was something I had said since I was little. Like she's like, I always just picture you like this little cute boy saying pancakes.
No, as a teenager.
I finally had to be like, no, I was like 19, bored at work, watching Homestar Runner, and Homestar Runner said pancakes at the Champagne Festival? No way. And she's like, I don't even know what to think anymore.
On the fucking Hogan gods. But anyway, all right, let's get into Fall Out Boy. Jason, I believe it is my turn to lead us off. Is this correct?
It is.
Okay.
It is.
One more. Sorry. So one day I was in the kitchen and my son comes running and he goes, Dad, sound the alarm. And the first thing that came to my mind was, the system is down. The system is down.
Okay, no, one more now.
Okay.
I crack up so much when Strong Bad cries from Little Brother. His own made-up character makes him cry, and it kills me every time.
And every dragon is Trogdor, by the way. The Burninator.
So you know I've worked in independent pro wrestling.
Right, yeah.
Well, the one dude who was a heel, a bad guy, had a Trogdor shirt on when he came to the ring, and I could not help myself. I go, Trogdor! And I just got the dirtiest look from him because I was just killing. It took everything he had not to laugh. So
He's killing his heel vibe.
I was.
So funny. All right. Anyway, okay, I'm gonna. So good. Oh my goodness! If you haven't, I think it's all on YouTube now. Especially check out the Strong Bad emails because they're so funny.
All of them are on YouTube.
All of them are okay. Yeah, I would recommend Strong Bad emails. That was appointment viewing every Monday for me and a couple of my friends. That's what we would do. We would sit around the computer, wait for the new one to drop, and then watch like 50 after that. But anyway, so I'm going to start us off with the opening track on this album called "The Disloyal Order of Water Buffaloes." Now, I have to tell a story real quick. So I still remember to this day the day that I bought this album. I bought it when it came out in December of 2008, and I was living in eastern Idaho at the time, and obviously Idaho, there was a bunch of snow on the ground. And so I got to my car, ripped it open, put it in my CD player, and I remember driving home literally slipping and sliding all over the road because they didn't plow the streets because it snowed so much, and not caring a single bit because this song was so good. Just being like, I don't even care if I'm going to crash into a snowbank because this is fan-freaking-tastic music right now. I loved it so much from the get-go. But the problem was, this was the only song I liked on the album at first.
That's far more generous than I felt when I first listened to this album the first time. And now it's become one of my favorites, but initially not so much.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny the way that you age and the way that your taste ages, because, like I said, I like the way this song started out, and I like the way that it progressed and everything went through. But I thought that everything else kind of felt flat after that because it was so different than even Infinity on High, which I liked a lot, but even that wasn't from Under the Cork Tree, which we've said is a 100.
Yeah.
Right. But no, I don't know. This was a perfect intro to this album, and is actually what got me to come back to it several years later because I wanted to listen to the song.
To me, this is one of their best songs.
Mm-hmm.
And it's easily one of the songs on the album that I'll listen to ad nauseum before I even move on to the next song because it's so good. That chorus is fantastic. Easy to sing along with. I love the line, "And perfect boys with their perfect lives. Nobody wants to hear you sing about tragedy." Total Pete Wentz at his best. Super in his head lyrics, but it's fantastic.
It is. It's all fantastic, and it's funny because I didn't know. So I didn't know the actual words to this song for a really long time. Like especially the intro where it says, "I'm coming apart at the seams, pitching myself for leads in other people's dreams." I thought because he's talking about dreams, I thought it was pinching myself for, and I would just mumble the leads part because I know what the word was. Pinching myself for in other people's dreams. I was like, oh yeah, he's like in other people's dreams. Yeah, that's cool, whatever. But pitching myself for leads in other people's dreams makes a whole lot more sense. It is actually a pretty cool line.
It is a pretty cool line.
A very Pete Wentzian line.
That's right. It's Pete Wentzian. That's right.
Yes, yeah. But anyway, no, I thought I was hooked on that line because it's I thought it sounded cool before, but I think it sounds even cooler now that I know actually what it is.
And not a lot of people can talk about lot lizards in songs.
I know. Oh, so random. But okay. The line though, detox just to retox. Like that's strong as in like powerful.
Yeah.
Right? Because I feel like I don't know for sure with Pete Wentz's timeline with things like that, right? I don't know what he was going through at this point in time, but I feel like that speaks to a whole lot of people, regardless of what it is, because it can be drugs, it could be anything
Yeah.
that you're like, I mean, I sit and drink a Diet Mountain Dew on every stinking episode, and I've made efforts at some points where I'm like, okay, I need to get off soda, detox. Then eventually I'm like, it's just, I'm at a restaurant, I don't want water, you know, and
It's
then I
just
get
the
right back
diet
to
soda.
exactly, and then now I'm back and like I'm not even trying anymore. But it can be something as small as that, or something as big as, like I said, drugs. I feel like we can all relate to it to some degree. But anywho,
I agree.
go ahead, Jason.
Okay, give me a second here. So I'm going to go with a song that I heard them play live. One of the many times I've seen them is $20 Nosebleed. And before I continue, my wife is so annoyed we are not talking about I Don't Care. It is hilarious.
I don't care, Jason. No, I'm just kidding. No, I don't like the song.
She's like, it is the best song on the album. I go, but that's your opinion.
And opinions can be wrong,
Like we were
Sorry,
talking about the
Jamie.
songs we want to talk about.
I'm just teasing. No, and you know what? I don't have a problem with anybody liking any song because I'm not gonna yuck your yum, right? But for me, it's the one that like I almost didn't buy the album because of that song because that was a single. Like legitimately, I was like,
I had to explain to her, I'm like, we don't act like we're experts. We just talk about the songs we like and our life stories we associate them with. Like it's not we're not Siskel and Ebert over here.
Yeah, here we are talking about I Don't Care.
Well, I didn't give it a review. I didn't talk about it.
Well, that's fine. I gave it a review. I don't like the song. But anyway, sorry. Go ahead, Jason.
So I'm talking about $20 Nosebleed. I saw them play this live. When I saw the second time I saw them was in 2013, and there was like a 6-year difference between when I saw them last and this time. And it was 21 Pilots, who I'm still kind of about. Panic at the Disco back when it was still a band and not just
Brandon
Urie. And it was Fall Out Boy, and they played this, and Brandon Urie came out and sang it with them because he sings on the song.
Yeah.
And experiencing that song live is so different than listening to the studio version. It's really cool. But that said, I love everything about this song. I love the way the music sounds. I love the way the lyrics sound. I don't like Brandon Urie, but I love him on this song. And that crescendo at the end is fantastic.
Yes. So I absolutely love this song too. It's put together so well. And say what you will about Brandon Urie, the dude has a fantastic voice.
He does. He
absolutely
really does.
Outstanding voice, and it fits so well with Fall Out Boy that I would not have a problem if he decided to join the band as either the lead singer or co-lead singer with Patrick Stump, because their voices sound very similar.
Very similar.
So much so that if you didn't know, you might not know that Brandon Urie was on the album. But they're also just different enough that if you're paying attention, you can tell, and it meshes together. Like it's flawless. But no, when Brandon Urie comes in though with Permanent Jet Lag, that's the part where I always like really kick in and start like feeling it. You know?
I love it's just a fun song to sing along to. Like it's not I mean there's reasons these lyrics exist, and it's not for the reason why everyone was singing at that concert, but it's just a fun song.
Yeah. And so I didn't really think about the lyrics for a long time. Mr. Benzedrine, I mean that's where the song title comes from. You know, the $20 Nosebleed. Because when you snort drugs, your nose bleeds. So that's where that comes from for anybody who is not familiar with it. But anyway, no, when I figured that out, I was like, oh, okay. And I don't know that it necessarily changed anything, but I was just kind of all right, a little bit more self-aware of it.
Yeah. And it has the Pete Wentz spoken word outro that has to be on every album.
Oh yeah, I skipped that part because I don't love them. I don't love them. And like sometimes it's one of those things like we talked about last week with Escape the Fate that like if I'm not really paying attention, I get to it. I'm like, oh, I'm halfway through. I might as well finish it. But I don't know. I don't need
They
them.
seem to drag on forever.
This one's long. This one's really long, and like I get that like the poetry of it is really good. The way it's all put together, like it's not me, it's you. Actually, it's the taxidermy of you and me. It feels a lot like a like jam poetry or slam poetry, you know, like it should be on So I Married an Axe Murderer. Woman, whoa, man. That's how it feels to me.
I'm dead. Okay.
Anywho, I'll do one more track and then we'll go to break before I ruin
right.
any more of this album for anybody. Let's go to Tiffany Blues.
Great song.
This is an outstanding song. I love it so much. I love that Lil Wayne is on it because I love me some hip hop and some Lil Wayne.
I always forget about that when I listen to the song.
so this album came out and my buddy and I were I was like, yeah, it's pretty good. Like this is one of the songs that I actually liked. I liked because it was different enough that I was like, that's cool, you know. But he gets into the bridge and my buddy's like, and first off, at the time he absolutely despised Fall Out Boy like so much. He's just like, Pete Wentz is a menace to the music industry, and he was such a snob. And he'll admit this. He was such a snob because he wanted to be a music producer. He was going to school majoring in music production. And it got to Lil Wayne. He's like, this is the problem with the music industry right now. He's like, this sucks. This is so bad. And it's on this album and everybody loves the song. I was like, yeah, and I'm one of them because it's awesome. It's so good. But what does it for me really in this song besides Lil Wayne is the chorus. I've lost my voice on that chorus because it's so great to sing along to. In fact, when we moved down here, I drove down by myself from Idaho, and I specifically made myself a Fall Out Boy road trip mix. And I was like, I'm by myself. I can listen to whatever I want, however often I want. And I probably listened to this song 5 times in a row between Vegas and Wickenburg, and and had no voice by the time I got into town. I was like going to sign my lease. I'm like, yeah, hi, we're moving in next week.
Chorus is great, but I love that opening line of I'm not a crybaby, I'm the crybaby.
No. It's so good, and it's more of like the we talk like with Zebrahead, like their Whoa-Ohs or like their you said their Sprite and Coke, right?
Yes.
Fall Out Boy. This song has the Fall Out Boy's Ohs, just the O's, which is like their Sprite and Coke. Like if you hear that at the beginning of a song, like on like From Under the Cork Tree, it's what is it? God, of all the gin joints in the world.
Yes.
Yeah, you hear it at the beginning of the song, like, oh, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be a good song. And
I had to sing it to figure it out. So
I know. And as soon as you did, I was like, yeah, that's the one. I know it. Could hear it in my head, but I had to hear it out loud. But anyway, let's go ahead and take a break. When we get back, we have a few more tracks plus our consensus pick for this album.
The Another Sports Podcast is the home of sports talk for everyone. Every other week, you can catch David and Jason as they talk about all things sports, from current events to classic moments and everything in between. You can find the Another Sports Podcast on Anchor.fm, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Podcast Addict, and more. Please don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review.
9+ Us presents the Baseball Together podcast with your hosts, Blackjack Brad and Kansas City Little Big Briggy Blue Eyes. Weekly episodes for the entire baseball family where we talk all baseball all the time. Available on all your favorite podcast apps and on YouTube. Come join our baseball family where we do baseball together.
Welcome back to the Punk Popcast. Today we're talking about Fall Out Boy's fourth album?
Yes, fourth album.
Whatever you say.
Fifth, but they don't consider the actual first one an album. So
there you go. Fourth full-length album. We're gonna call it Folie, Deux, or Folie, Deux. Anyway, all right. Jason, I think you're up. It is your turn. Which album would you like to talk about next?
well, let's do the consensus pick.
Oh, yeah, you're right. You're right. We have to do the consensus pick. It's head first slide into Cooperstown on a bad bet. So first off, I don't know how many people listening are baseball fans. Jason and I are huge baseball fans. I talked about it before. I mean, Jason does a sports podcast. I do a baseball podcast, and actually, Jason does a baseball podcast as well for the Phillies. But
On your network,
on our network, that's right. So the title of this song I love so much because it is specifically about Pete Rose. For those of you who are not familiar, Pete Rose, his signature, I guess, dive or slide into a base is head first. There's one of the most famous pictures of him is him going head first into third base. But he was banned for life from baseball because of betting. And the thing that's funny about it is everybody's always like, he was a terrible bettor, though. Like, he was so bad. Like, an awful bettor. And so, because of that, he cannot get into the Hall of Fame in Cooperstown. So, head first slide, Pete Rose, into Cooperstown, can't get in the Hall of Fame on a bad bet because he's banned from baseball for betting.
And it sounds better than if they called the song doing a PD. So,
or just saying, or just calling it Pete Rose, even because he'd probably sue them for using his name because.
So
it's kind of what he
off
does.
Topic. I think the reason Pete Rose gambled was because he's so freaking competitive. And
I'm certain.
Himself.
I'm certain. I mean, that's one of the reasons I gamble. I'll be honest with you. It's because like I don't get to compete against people anymore because I'm not playing sports anymore. So it's like I can compete against the bookie, and for the record, it's all above table. I'm not like actually working with a bookie, but yeah, no, I mean, I think
it's
you're right.
Legal in a lot of states now, so
it is legal, and where I live, it is legal. So, in fact, I'm riding a bet right now if we want to talk about that for just a second, but we don't have to. We won't do that anyway. No,
What's
you're
your
probably right
code
though.
for listeners.
I'll put a link down in the description if you want to jump on DraftKings. You can click that link, and we'll both get free money. So let's go with
this
that.
Is not a joke. I'm just laughing. I'm sorry.
but no, this is a great song. Go ahead, Jason.
Yeah, this is a fantastic song. Fun chorus. This is actually like a pretty dark song for Fall Out Boy. Considering what it's talking about and the scenario involved in the song, but this was a single off the album, and it was a really good single off the album, and it's referenced in one of the songs I'm going to be talking about later. So,
well, I think the other, anyway, we'll get to that. But no, it is great. The pre-chorus is the one that always gets me as far as like when I'm singing along. That's like if I'm not really like if I'm just kind of listening, not really paying attention to it, the pre-chorus is where I always come into it. Does your husband know the way that the sunshine gleams from your wedding band? The way that Pete Wentz sings that is so catchy. It does not make it sound at all like there's anything wrong with it.
That is very true.
So
that is very true.
But anyway, no, great song. This is one of the ones I would probably point somebody to if they're getting into this album.
I agree with that.
So
I agree with that.
All right, Jason. Now we'll go your way with your next track.
Okay, well, I guess I got to go with that now. So my next track is "What a Catch, Donnie." And I have to say, from that opening line from Patrick, I'm like, oh my God, I get it. Because I'm someone, I not always the most super confident guy in the world. I kind of can relate to the song a little bit. I get it. And this is one of Pete's many love letters to Patrick. So
after talking about that last song, I wonder if Donnie is. Do you think it's Don Mattingly?
No.
Probably not.
So the reference to this is Donny Hathaway, who was an R&B soul singer, did a lot of collaborations with Roberta Flack. And Donny Hathaway is most known for the song "This Christmas." This Christmas will be a very special Christmas.
Okay.
Da na 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 na. That song.
Okay.
But he was also a very depressed person and ended up killing himself by jumping out of a window. So that's why it's called "What a Catch, Donnie." That's why the pre-chorus is "Miss Flack, I said I still want you back," because it's about that was kind of the inspiration for the song.
Interesting. I did not know that. Obviously.
Well, and you know I'm a music nerd, so
Yeah. No, I get that.
those are really deep references for anyone listening to this episode. But this is a great song. It's another one I've seen them perform live a few times, and it always kills live. It's definitely one of their deeper songs. I mean, not every Fall Out Boy song has a verse where they say the captain goes down with the ship, so when the world ends, will God go down with it? Like, it's a deeper song than most of their stuff. But I think the biggest highlight for anyone who's listened to this album is probably the reprise with Elvis Costello singing the chorus to "Head First Slide into a Cooperstown on a Bad Bet," and then the ending where Travie McCoy and Brandon Urie and a bunch of other guys sing the choruses to other Fall Out Boy songs.
Yeah. That was the big hook for me, is that like I was willing to listen to the song just because it was Fall Out Boy. And sometimes I struggle like with I think I've said this before, that I struggle with albums that really do a lot of this. And this song is in the middle of the album, and it's actually a really good place for something like this, where it's really going to slow down because it's on the piano. But for me, like, I listen to music a lot while I'm working, which I need something that drives and goes and pushes through. So when I'm doing that, I don't usually listen to the song, but the ending with all the reprise and goes through kind of like a medley is awesome. It's so good. The way that it all fits together, and it actually works with the melody of the song. They mix up some of the beats a little bit with the way that stuff is sung, but it fits really well, and it's really cool how it calls back to all the songs that you love by Fall Out Boy from before this.
And so, fun fact: this was also the final single off the album.
Oh, was it?
This was their last album for how many years before Save Rock and Roll? So a lot of people looked at this song specifically as like the breakup song of the band, because they did call back all those former songs.
I hadn't thought about that, but it makes sense, and especially since like everybody kind of went their own ways after that, like, and they call it a hiatus. I was honestly concerned that like this was the last thing we were ever going to get from Fall Out Boy, because Patrick Stump went and did his own thing, and Pete Wentz was doing a reality show with his wife at the time with Ashley Simpson, and I didn't know what the other guys were doing, but it's like we've seen the last of Fall Out Boy, and I'm really bummed out that that's it, and then finally they come back, but no, and I could see that being, like you said, the breakup song, I guess you could say, and it would make sense. I wonder if going into this they had all that planned, right?
It wouldn't surprise me with this band.
Yeah.
And I think, for the record, Joe and the drummer did a metal project with Scott Ian from Anthrax during the hiatus.
Oh, really?
I think so, yeah.
Andy Hurley is one of my favorite drummers. He's so good. I'll have to check that out, because like I love the way he drums and the way that he plays with this type of music, that it's like I feel like he's the one who takes it over the edge, right? And I think we talked
Yeah.
about that before with Take This to Your Grave, that he brings a lot of the metalcore or even like the hardcore metal into the band because of the way he drums, that it's like, just get that little taste when you've got everything else is very, appeals very much to the masses, because they're one of the first bands who was able to go on the radio and play this way and pave the way for other bands to do so. Because they're
Yes, I
harder than
agree.
Blink-182 and Green Day.
Yeah.
You know, so anyway, you good if I move on to the next one?
I'm fine. Yeah.
Okay. All right, we're gonna wrap it up with a song that honestly I didn't like at first when I listened to it. By the way, it's really funny clicking through these tracks on Genius because there's different album art for every single one of these songs.
A lot of these were singles too. So I mean, they
Yeah.
released a bunch of songs off of this.
Which is, so I heard I Don't Care on the radio. That was the only song off this album I heard on the radio. I think that was the point where I was like, I'm done with the radio. It's CDs. Back to CDs. But anyway, America's Sweethearts is a little bit slower, a little bit softer than some other songs that I really like off this album. But the thing that gets me is the chorus, the way that it really crescendos and builds into what it is, where it's, let's hear it for America's, and then it goes up, and it's really like Patrick Stump is like belting it.
Yeah.
And it's another one of those songs that, despite it being a little bit slower paced than a lot of their other popular stuff and other stuff that I like, it's great to sing along with in the car. It's another one where I would lose my voice. But it's, I don't know, it's an awesome chorus, and it builds perfectly. It's so great to sing with.
So I know you have songs on albums that you just dislike the song. I dislike this song so much. Because this was
I appreciate your
single,
candor.
This was the first single off the album, and I heard this song and I'm like, nope, it's not for me.
That's so funny. And so I didn't like it at first either, right? But it was so the first track is what got me back into listening it, because I wanted to listen to it, and then I kind of skipped around and landed on this. I was like, oh, that's good. I like it a lot. It definitely took time because it wasn't in line with my initial tastes at the time. It's a little bit ahead of its time for me.
I always thought it would taste like dirty water, and it sure does. I did that just for you.
I appreciate that. But with that, let's go ahead and give our rating.
I got one more yet.
Oh, you do? Oh my gosh, Jason, I'm so sorry.
It's okay. We're all over the place in this episode.
Oh my gosh, the last two. I'm such a mess.
So my final one is the Ship Gold Standard. Just done.
It's for Hogo gods.
Jesus. This might actually be my favorite song on the album after What a Catch Donnie. Without What a Catch Donnie is my favorite song. This would be my second favorite. I love everything about this song. It's super catchy. The music is great. I love some of these lyrics. Sometimes I want to quit this all and become an accountant now, but I'm no good at math. And besides, the dollar is down. That kills me. I love that time my dad caught me a horseshoe crab, and I asked him if throwing it back into the sea would bring our luck back. That's a really cool line. And I didn't know that there was even such a thing as a horseshoe crab, and supposedly they are lucky.
You didn't know that?
I didn't know that.
Oh man, yeah, that's a real thing. Real thing. You need to catch up on your maritime lore, Jason, before our next
Apparently
episode.
I do. But I also love the pre-chorus of I want to scream I love you from the top of my lungs, but I'm afraid that someone else will hear me, because that kind of hits some real feelings.
It does. And my very first thought when I heard that was it was a call back to is it Thanks for the Memories on Infinity on High, where it talks about a teenage vow in a parking lot.
I don't know, because Infinity High is not an album I listen to ever.
Right. But anyway, that line from Infinity on High, a teenage vow in a parking lot, because the way I always saw that was like, my word is only as good as the lights are in this parking lot, right? As long as the lights are on this parking lot, that's how good this is for. And that's one of the things that I felt like was they were calling back to with this, was like, a guy will tell a girl anything, in high school, like, I want to scream I love you from the top of my lungs, but I honestly don't want anybody to hear me, because
I actually look at it differently. I think, and because Pete, so many of his songs, it's him working stuff out.
Yeah.
I almost think it's an insecurity kind of thing. Like, I love you and I want to scream it, but I don't want someone else to hear that I love you, because what if they love you?
See, I never thought of that way. For me, I just always thought of it like, yeah, I will, but I don't want anybody to hear me, because I don't want it to like stick and actually mean anything. That's what I saw it. But I mean, I guess that's isolating the line, though, right?
Right.
So, because there's a whole lot more to it. But no, you hit on the opening lines in this song. Kill. I want to become an accountant now, but I'm no good at math and the dollar's down. That speaks on so many different levels about so many different things in life. It's like, dude, that's spot on. And I can relate to that. I'm sure everybody can relate to that to some degree. And it's a killer line. It's a great hook to get you into the song.
I'm an accounting major, so it's even better.
Well, so the way that's funny. For me, so like, I always, growing up, I always wanted to be a sports writer. Like, I wanted to go to, but like, first off, I wasn't sure how to go about pursuing it. But then the other thing I was told is that there's no money in it, and you're not a good writer anyway, right? Like that. Those were the things I was told.
Damn.
And so,
darn. Sorry.
Could say damn. It's within the Carlin rules. That's fine.
All right.
But yeah, like that was stuff that I was like, well, I wouldn't be good at it, and there's no money in it. And then it was like, you need to go into the medical field. Okay, like, wasn't doing something I wanted. I wasn't pursuing a path I necessarily wanted. I was pursuing the path that I was told to because of those other things. So that's where that really comes from with me. That was a line that, despite not being a huge fan of the album, I heard that I was like, oh man, I get that, because at the time I was studying to be a pharmacist. So yeah, I get it. But anyway, okay, now are we ready to do our rating, Jason?
I'm as ready as you are.
Okay. Now, because I don't love every song on this album, like, I don't love that start to finish, but it is still really, really good. I'm going to give it a 95.
I'm good with that. It's not quite perfect, but it's very good.
I feel like it's aged really well, is what it is.
And it really has, because in 2008, I hated this album probably more than Infinity on High, and now I would say it's probably my second favorite behind Take This to Your Grave. And nothing's ever bumping Take This to Your Grave off of my top of the mountain.
Yeah, and I get that. Now this is one that, like, when I talked about that road trip album, when I was putting it together, almost every single song got on there, because it's awesome. It's I didn't know it as well before I took that road trip. By the time I was done, I knew it forward and backward, every line to every song. I finally learned that he was pitching himself for leads in other people's dreams and not pinching himself because of dreams. But anyway, let us know what you think about Folie Do. Reach out to us on the Twitter machine at Punk Popcast. You can reach me personally at Jojo Cornrow, just like it sounds, JoJoCornrow. Maybe we'll get to that story sometime. I don't know. We'll see. But Jason, what are you on Twitter?
I am at XJasonDagX.
Excellent. Thank you very much. And thank you for joining us this week. We will catch you next week for our season 2 finale.